Sounds like you guys could write a book on half the stuff, right?
Totally. It's crazy.
Has any of those experiences deterred you, like in the beginning of like, man, I'm kind of iffy of talking to a contractor?
Yeah, so kind of looking back at that experience, it was a great experience for me and a lot of lessons learned on mistakes that I had made on vetting contractors and hiring the wrong contractors and just all of those things that were compounding in this experience. And there was a lot of compounding things that happened with that experience. But looking back at that, and what I would do going forward is that I would make sure that I had really good contractors, that they actually were licensed. I would check their licensure. I would make sure I had a contract up front. I stopped doing deposits with other contractors just to make sure that I was protected. I started buying materials after that so I could control that. I wasn't buying used cabinets that I didn't know about. I was actually controlling the money a lot better. And so the silver lining of that experience was that I learned what not to do, and it made my business so much better because I went through that experience. So just be careful when you're hiring those contractors of just giving them a bag of money and trusting that they're going to do the right thing. That's not always the case. And so for me, it was a great lesson learned on who I want to work with, the contractors that I want to deal with moving forward in my business, and I've been able to have a lot of really good positive outcomes because of that. I tightened my processes a lot in my business. I made sure that I was making the right moves with hiring new contractors. My contracts were better. Everything just got better after that point, but I had failed miserably hiring this guy, and I feel like it was a great learning. Mark that up as education for me, and a great education to just say, hey, I learned from that experience, I failed, I picked myself up, and I got better at flipping houses and hiring the right contractors. Okay, let me do one more. You want one more story?
Let's do one more.
I'll give you a good one. All right, let me tell you one more story about a good experience that I've had with a contractor. So we were doing a contractor kind of in a, let's call it a ghetto area, not a very safe area. Stuff we'd have to lock it down to make sure it didn't get stolen. A cool experience I had with a contractor is that we had this, one of these properties, we had a wheelchair ramp that was made out of aluminum that would go up to the front deck. The contractor's like, hey man, what do you want to do with this aluminum thing? He's like, we don't need it for our flip. It's not part of our scope of work. We're just going to get rid of it. Should we scrap it? Should we try and sell it? What should we do? And so I told him, I'm like, hey, let's just sell it, see if we can put it on the classifieds and see if somebody would buy this thing. I bet it's got some value, $2,000, $3,000, I don't know. And so he's like, yeah, let's put it on the market. And then I was like, whatever you sell it for, I'll split it with you. You keep half for doing the work, and I'll keep half because it's my property and my wheelchair ramp, if you will. The very next day, this contractor shows up to the job site. He has this wheelchair ramp listed, and all of his tools get stolen out of his truck. So someone grabbed his pack-out box out of the back of his truck, walked off with it. He didn't even see it till later that day and realized that he was missing about $1,000 in tools. So he calls me and tells me, he's like, man, it's my own fault. I should have locked it up. I should have brought it in the house with me. I should have done something different, and just devastated that he had lost $1,000. This guy wasn't making a ton of money at the time. He was just getting his business started as a new contractor. Building that relationship and working from some bad experiences of working with contractors and looking into the good of this, that I said, hey, how's that wheelchair ramp? And he's like, well, actually, I just sold it for $1,000. And I'm like, great. He's like, do you want half of it? I'll give you the half. And I told him, I'm like, hey man, just go and take that $1,000, go and buy new tools. To see his excitement, that he's like, are you serious? Why would you do that? To me, I wasn't planning on making anything anyways. I was just assuming we were going to throw that wheelchair ramp out. The impact that I made with that contractor was huge, that he was loyal to me for years because of that, because I went out of my way to help him in a situation. And as you're working with these contractors, they're people too. They have feelings, they have families, they have these emotions just like we all do. But that token of kindness towards that contractor endeared him to me, that he was loyal to me for a long time, that he would do whatever it took to get the job finished, to be on time, to be on budget, to do all those things that we expect out of contractors. But it was because I made the effort to make that relation, that human connection, if you will, with this contractor, to say, hey, it's okay, I got your back, and I know that you'll get my back. And because we had that relationship, it was a great experience and a great relationship that lasted for a long time. There are tons of horror stories with contractors and dealing with bad contractors and contractors not showing up and all those things, but there's also some good experience as well. That I've had my same 4 contractors work with me for the last 6 to 7 years, and they've been very loyal to me, but it's because I've done little things like that I've taken care of those contractors. I've bought them lunch. I've gone out of my way to make sure that they were content and happy working for me. I invite them to my Christmas parties, and we've bought them sweatshirts and hats and all those things that they feel like they're a part of my team. Even though they have their own businesses and they're 1099 employees, we feel like we really try and take them as part of our family and as part of our community with our business. So all good experiences working with these guys, and just grateful for them and what they've been able to do in my company and the things that we've been able to do together.